Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular session of the Mayor and Council for the Town of Berlin. It is Monday, March 25th, 2024. Please join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
Mayor, before we get to the consent agenda, I just wanted to point out a clarification. In tonight's agenda, the 9:05 p.m. closed session, the authority to close is listed as number 3. However, in the closing statement that was provided online for the meeting, it was a different reason. So I think that...
It's number 7.
Yes, so I just wanted to say that at the beginning of this one, in the interest of notice to the public.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And if there's no corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Councilmember Orris, a second by Councilmember Nur to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that the consent agenda passes unanimously with all council members present. All right. Up next, I have three documents that I have to read. 2 are for fun, proclamations, and then one is a long one on, not fun as Mary said, the announcement and approval of the infrastructure bonds. So we'll start with Berlin's birthday, which is why I think we have such a large crowd here this evening to celebrate Berlin's 156th birthday. We'll celebrate nonetheless, right? So Proclamation 2024-04, Proclamation of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin, recognizing March 30th, 2024, as Berlin's 156th birthday. And I think it looks great for being 156 years old. Whereas since the inception of the Town of Berlin, we have grown from what was once the crossroads of Native Americans and early colonists on Cinnapuxon Road to a vibrant community with a bustling downtown and business district. The Town of Berlin started as a 300-acre early homestead and has now grown to just over 4 square miles with a population of over 5,000 residents and over 270 small businesses. Whereas through the hard work of our residents and business community, our town has been and continues to be a great place to live, work, and visit. Since Berlin was incorporated as a municipality of the state of Maryland in 1868, we now celebrate our 156th anniversary or birthday on March 30th, 2024. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the Town of Berlin hereby declare March 30th as Berlin's 156th birthday, and we ask all residents and businesses to fly our town flag leading up to Berlin's birthday to show our community spirit for this milestone. So thank you all for being here to celebrate, and Jack's going to lead us in happy birthday.
No, we're not.
You said at the start of the work session you wanted to lead in happy birthday. All right, maybe not. We'll preserve the windows.
Yes, let's wait for that Saturday. We'll sing happy birthday.
All right, so up next is Proclamation 2024-05, which is celebrating World Autism Awareness Day. And here with us tonight to accept the proclamation from the Town of Berlin is Melissa Esham with the Autistic Support Group of Worcester County. If you don't mind, just come forward. We're going to meet right here in the front. We also have Wendy Phillips, Supervisor of Worcester County Special Education, and Miss Pam Green, member of Worcester County Special Education Citizens Advisory Council, and her son Carson Green. And Councilmember Green, if you'd like to join your family down for the proclamation. All right, so come on over here. We'll watch out for this cord, just so that anybody that's watching at home. And I know all of you can't see it, and I'm not going to violate this table, but I do have my my puzzle
Very
socks
nice.
on, so I like to rock the different socks. So.
My earrings were from
Oh, see, I love
Nichols
it.
years ago,
Very
but
nice.
they are autism related. That's all very nice.
Anything that you would like to say, or
Thank you. I love when Berlin comes through for something when Ocean City's been doing it for a long time. It's just nice to be in my hometown and see the recognition for all the kids that we have here. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Pam?
No, the same, just, thank you for the inclusion.
Steve?
I'll go with the same thing.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I'm back to talking for a moment, but this is all fun. So Proclamation 2024-05, World Autism Awareness Day. Whereas the month-long observance of World Autism Awareness is highlighted each year on April 2nd, a global awareness day. World Autism Awareness Day was adopted by the United Nations in 2007 to shine a bright light on autism as a growing global health crisis. Awareness activities increase knowledge of autism and information about the importance of early diagnosis and early intervention. Additionally, World Autism Awareness Day celebrates the unique talents and skills of people throughout our community and the world. About 270 people in the world have autism spectrum disorder, ASD, a group of developmental disabilities that cause challenges in many areas of life, but also celebrate our wonderful differences of each and every one of us. Autism spectrum disorder affects people of racial, ethnic, and different racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds. In the United States, more than 5.4 million adults are autistic, and 1 in every 44 children have been diagnosed with autism. Autistic people continue to face obstacles when seeking employment, healthcare, education, and housing, and the immense contributions that they provide to our community are often overlooked. I call upon all the citizens of the town of Berlin to learn more about autism and to improve early diagnosis and learn more about the experiences of folks that do have autism, to build more welcoming and inclusive communities to support people with autism throughout our community and the world. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Zach Tyndall, and the Town Council of Berlin do hereby proclaim April as Autism Awareness Month and April 2nd Autism Awareness Day, and call upon our citizens of the town of Berlin to make the observance. So witness my hand and seal, but that's all the good stuff. So,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You explode at the end? Yeah, you explode.
Thank you.
So then here, let's get a picture together.
Thank you.
You want to hold the other end?
Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Would
I
you like
get to keep it?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Shoot it here.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate it. All right, now, as Mary said, the not so fun. So agenda item number 3 is the announcement and approval of ordinance 2024-01, Mayor and Council of Berlin infrastructure bonds, 2024 Series A, and it has me running point, and then we'll have a public hearing. So we did this, if this
We've
sounds,
already held the public
okay,
hearing.
so if we don't have to redo,
Once you read the statement and explain why we're redoing this, we do not have to redo the public hearing.
okay. Should we offer any point for the public to opine or no? On this matter, or is it just announcement?
This is just an announcement. At this point, it's a housekeeping item.
Perfect. All right, so now take your seats. Statement regarding ordinance number 2024-01. This was prepared by our bond counsel, so it'll be fun. 2024-01 for March 25th, 2024 Mayor and Council meeting. On February 24th, 2024, ordinance number 2024-01, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds of the town not to exceed $3.8 million in aggregate principal amount for the purpose of financing, reimbursing, or refinancing costs of 2 projects generally referred to as item number 1, electric AMI metering system, and item number 2, public works building, together with related costs through the Community Development Administration CDA Local Government Infrastructure Financing Program, was introduced before the Mayor and Council. As required by the statute governing CDA, a notice of the public hearing concerning ordinance number 2024-01 was scheduled for March 11th, 2024. Notice of such public hearing was published in the Ocean City Digest on February 29th, 2024. The public hearing concerning ordinance number 2024-01 was held on March 11th, 2024. No one submitted written testimony ahead of such public hearing, and no one asked to speak at such public hearing. At the council, following public hearing, voted to pass 2024-01. However, through an inadvertent error, The version of the ordinance number 2024-01 was included in the packets available for the public and the mayor and council for March 11th, 2024 meeting. Was not the same as the version of the ordinance that was introduced before the mayor and council on February 26, 2024. The version included in the March 11th, 2024 packets was an earlier draft of ordinance number 2024-01 that had F&B draft 02-06-2024 at the top of each page, and a portion of section 1A was highlighted. While the differences between the versions of ordinance number 2024-01 was introduced on February 26, 2024, and was voted upon for passage on March 11, 2024, are not substantive, bond counsel to the town has requested that the council take a vote to pass the version of the ordinance number 2024-01 as it was actually introduced on February 26, 2024, at the mayor and council meeting to be held on March 25, 2024. The vote to pass ordinance number 2024-01 that was taken at the March 11, 2024 meeting will be disregarded. In addition to the second paragraph on page 13 of ordinance number 2024-01, as introduced, was structured in a manner that assumed the vote to pass ordinance number 2024-01 will be taken on the same date as the public hearing. Therefore, bond counsel of the town of Berlin has requested that before passing the version of ordinance 2024-01 as introduced, the council vote to amend page 13 of the ordinance to insert the date the public hearing was held and to indicate that the ordinance will be passed as amended. Now, I think I just read an entire page, so out of respect for all of you, if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll address those now before we move forward. Okay, all right. So now we need to vote to adopt and amend according to this.
The only amendment in the version that is in tonight's packet from the first reading introduction is the paragraph on the very last, page 13, that indicates that the public hearing was held on March 11th and that the vote is being taken tonight.
Okay, so we do need a motion.
So I was just looking back at the minutes. I made the original motion, so I'm going to just do this one. So I'll make a motion to amend page 13 to insert the date the public hearing was held, and with that, the approval of the ordinance 2024-01.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilmember Orris with the amendment.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that ordinance number 2024-01 passes as amended. Thank you. All right. Let's get this paperwork squared away. All right, up next are items for approval, which is agenda item number 4, and a public comment period will be offered before each item is taken or acted upon. Up first is agenda item 4A, motion 2024-15, a special event permit for Stephen Decatur High School prom to be held in downtown Berlin on Saturday, April 27, 2024. It has to be a running point, but we're going to have the prom committee come up here to make the formal request. Jamie, and you can just introduce your group if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Just introduce yourselves if you don't mind.
Sure. Sure. My name is Jamie Greenwood. I teach at Stephen Decatur High School. This is
Hi, I'm Michelle DeLello. I'm also a teacher at Stephen Decatur High School.
And both of you are on the... Go ahead.
Go continue. Yes, we are the prom co-chairs, and we have 2 of our prom committee members with us this evening as well. So I appreciate you taking the time and giving us a moment to pitch this to you.
Very nice. So what I'll start with at least some of the backstory. Jamie had reached out regarding a loss of venue for this year's prom to be held on April 27th, 2024. The original location, as it has been for years, is the convention center. That fell through due to a retirement, I think, at the convention center. You all sought out looking for other locations, and then had reached out to the mayor's office to see if there's anything in Berlin that could help, given the volume of students, over 600 students. An indoor venue is out of the question in the town of Berlin. So the next viable option was potentially something on Main Street. With that, we have had a preliminary meeting with Jamie and
Michelle.
Michelle. I wanted to call you Jillian for some reason. That's her sister. I graduated with. So, but we had a meeting and discussed preliminarily what this would look like, and then formulated what is now before the mayor and council for discussion this evening and adoption. I think speaking from our conversations, the school is open to being flexible with any potential plans or closures. So the map that's in the packet this evening with the SHA closure form, know that that is open for dialogue. And I think that this evening, judging by the folks that are here for Berlin's birthday, I think maybe we'll have some good constructive dialogue about how we can maybe make this the best possible thing for Berlin. But Jamie, if you could talk just a little bit about what this means for the school and what the request looks like.
Sure, absolutely. Let me just go back a little bit, because I don't want this to look like the blame falls on the convention center, because this is my 17th year, 18th year doing prom at Stephen Decatur. And in the past, it's been after prom, we give them the date we'd like, they put a temporary hold on it, and that's the end of it. Because the convention center, because of commerce and the like, a local event cannot be booked until 6 months out. They look for a national event that's going to bring tourism into town. I understand that. And then, so on May 5th, I had the conversation with my contact at the convention center. I asked about the 20th of May, or the 20th of April, excuse me. That was not available because of, they've had it booked already. She said the 27th was available. I said, great, we'll take it. She said, like usual, 6 months out, we'll book it. So I went about my business. We went about things under the impression that that was being handled, like it has for the past 17 years. And then on, hold on, I can tell you the date, because I wrote it down, because February 26th at 1:59 p.m., I got a call from my vice principal that said, you need to call the convention center, there's a problem. I called the convention center, they said, we don't have anything in. So I skipped a step. The lady who books everything retired. So therefore, the new person who handled scheduling didn't have a clue. So does the blame fall on the convention center? Does it fall on me? As an almost 49-year-old, I'll shoulder the blame. I'll take the blame. But I will tell you, I'm going to work day and night to make this resolved, to get this resolved. So anyway, so is the blame on the convention center? No. I mean, I understand that they want to book a venue, but that kind of hurts the little guy. I know of another event, 2 other events, that the same thing happened to, because they're local events, they've been bumped, and the one event has been bumped to, I believe, Memorial Day Sunday, to parents that work in the Ocean City industry in the area. That's a busy time. And so, that's the problem, is that Ocean City won't book, let me rephrase it, the convention center won't book a local event until 6 months out, because they want to sell it to a national event. I understand that. They, so it kind of hurts us. And this is is this going to be the same thing moving forward? Tonight is a one-time thing. This is a catastrophic event that it's been a month, and we've been working. Like I said, I reached out to Mayor Tyndall and I said, what are your thoughts? And that's when our dialogue started. So, yeah, and the other dilemma that we sit on is we have, last year, we had 563 guests attend prom, plus staff, plus security and everybody. We're talking 600 seated guests we have to have. I've talked to the Assure, they're booked. And even at 600 seated guests, that's tight. Plus a dance floor, plus everything that goes along with prom. So, so the mayor and I talked about Main Street, and that's kind of where this this all went to. So, yeah, this is uncharted territory for all of us, and it's fluid. It is, and that's one thing that we've been talking back and forth about. Since that map that was in the packet tonight, since we've talked, it's changed how many times? Right. So,
But I did also, Jamie, touch on what the other alternative is to prom if it's not on Main Street. And then I think addressing a lot of the faces that I see here tonight, how do we do this together so that it does help the school system, but it also doesn't hurt our local economy? You know what I mean?
I trust me, I've been a business person before. I know how that is. My parents were in the restaurant business for 26 years, so I understand the economic end of things. And I understand that Saturdays are busy times. So we want to work. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And it's not closing everything down from when the street closure starts. Foot traffic will still be open.
And we want to try and allow as much vehicular traffic as possible.
Right.
So we're all cognizant.
Right. And we from our original proposal, what the mayor and I originally started out, our footprint has shrunk because of concerns, because of, do we really need all that space? And more space means more staff needed. And so I'm thinking that we can work as a team and get rid of the misinformation, like, oh, I've heard everything's going to shut down at noon. That wasn't our discussion. There was discussion that the reason we've known this for months, that we were holding out just to come at the very end so we could say, can you please help us? That's not the case. We got an increase at the convention center. The price of the convention center facility rental has not changed. So we want to work. The school system wants to work. Like I said, this is something that's never been done. When we held graduation on the boardwalk, something that had never been done. But now it's a mainstay. If you told those kids you're not going to have boardwalk processional, there would be mutiny. If you said that we're not going to have graduation in the stadium, there's going to be mutiny. I'm telling you right now.
We had that discussion in my house today, so.
Right.
I hear you.
Right. And so, and again, what's happened, and I can't change it. We can't change it. We're looking for some help. We're looking to promote the businesses. I mean, we've talked about going to businesses and saying, listen, we want to drive customers to you. Whether it's the students coming, whether it's after the parents drop you off, go get dinner in Berlin. Put together a prom package for the prom goers. That they come in, they pay a set price, they get a tip that was included because we know how teenagers can tip. So I mean, we want to drive people here. And are you gonna show the video?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I need to see
Okay,
it.
so the video that we're going to show you from, and there's a couple of them. I don't know if we're going to show the Kentucky one, but they had the one
It was in that
picture.
email I sent. I'm sorry.
The one picture that they used in Kentucky had 300,000 hits, 300,000 views, and 300,000 views that maybe 100,000, maybe 50,000 of those people come through Berlin and spend money and drive that economic.
Wrong one. Kate, that's for the map. It would have been a little later than that. You can keep going, Jake.
So, okay. So again, and do we promote the businesses through some sort of like media, whether it's television, radio, print, and say Berlin's still open. We're having prom, yes, but Berlin's still open and then when we decide on the time, whatever that time may be, we say we're gonna block it in, and it's just that section. The majority of businesses.
So what section has changed?
It will be from, we're coming north more. It would be to Pitt Street.
So the portion that's changed is the stage would be over on Pitt Street, and then I heard, what you're talking to Kate, the stage would be on Pitt Street, and the southerly block would be Rains Reef, and then a shrunken down modification to allow for access to the north. Rather than stopping at the War Memorial, we would stop just south of Stevenson Lane to help keep that open for, yeah, there you are. Let's go there for just a moment, and we'll come back to the video. So if you don't mind, turn off, Kate, turn off the traffic control points, electric and town services, either click boxes where the check is.
The red check.
Electric you can turn off. Town services you can turn off. You can turn off the shuttle loop and the traffic patterns. Both of those, north prom traffic flow and prom drop off, turn that off. You can keep SDHS prom activities. Yep. You can get rid of emergency services. And then zoom in there if you don't want. So then looking, yep. So where the guitar is down at the south portion, that would go actually over Pitt Street, right where you see the alleyway that goes back into the parking lot. That's where the stage would go. The Grand March would shorten to where you see the microphone.
What? I'm sorry, so the stage is going to go in the alley?
No, it's not going to go in the alley. It would stop just to the west of the alley.
Gotcha.
Creating like a block there. And then the Grand March would pick up just where you see Artisans Way kind of curving down. We would start the Grand March just south of that. And then zoom out if you don't mind, Kate. So if you don't mind, keep zooming out. And if you don't mind adding the shuttle loop. So the drop-off point, so if you see E and F, the shuttle, go back in if you don't mind. Go back in. So there you go. Zoom in just a little bit more towards A, please. Nope, south. There you are, War Memorial. So where you see E, that's Baker Street right there. So the shuttle would come around, drop students off. I know some of the points of concern were photography in some of our local businesses that kind of dampers the ability to have dining services. There's been an impact in the past. So there would be some messaging coming out from the school to say that some photo locations could be the Taylor House. So a drop-off point would be right there where E is at the intersection of Baker and West. And then the shuttle would travel from E to F to G and so on. With that being said, we're cognizant of the traffic flow. Anybody that's not coming in downtown to want to eat or shop or visit would be diverted at F to be able to go to G and back out. Anybody that wants to come in would be channeled through down to like the A area to be able to hit our parking areas that are over by the Memorial and off of Artisan Way. So it would tighten that scope quite a bit and I think address at least some of the concerns that we've heard so far. I mean, like Jamie said, it's open. We're trying to help solve a challenge here. It's difficult to do and take everybody's input when it's just a planning phase. So.
Councilman Morris, you look perplexed.
Well, I have a couple of questions. I just don't know when I can ask. Well, first, I do sympathize with the plight. I mean, I get you.
Right, I appreciate it.
So this is obviously on Main Street, an outside event.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a rain location?
Yes, sir.
Planned?
Yes, sir.
The application says the road is closed from 12 to 11. That's 11 hours. I know that you are of the opinion that folks can still walk and still go to the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is, and with that map that we just saw, we have people walking, we have traffic being diverted, we have a shuttle of some sort.
The shuttle wouldn't begin until probably 5.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
How long have your shuttles been running?
I just emailed it to you. I think.
I
Jim's
would
got
say
it.
probably till
You got it?
10:30.
Is it a continuous?
Yes, yes. But, and we've changed, last year we changed prom, and I'll tell you this very quickly, and then I'll get back to your question.
Because I have more.
Yes, it's okay. Hopefully I have the answer.
Well, that's good. I mean.
Yeah, no, that's what we want. So traditionally, prom was dance, and then king and queen were done at the end of the night. And by that point, there was maybe 150 kids there, out of this 550 that came. We've done prom, king and queen earlier last year, and it was a huge success. Now, if you watch the video, when we watch the video, if what the mayor of this town says, that the kids didn't want to leave because they were having such a good time, that is, at 10 o'clock, we're done. Number one, because of the noise ordinance. Number two, I want to get the kids to after prom. Because the longer they can get, the quicker they can get to after prom, the less likely they are to go out and to do something, for lack of a better word, stupid. And knock on wood, that's something we've never faced. So.
Okay, you want to let Kate hit play for a second?
Yeah, we can watch the video. I mean, just don't forget about me.
We won't.
You can never forget.
Oh, sweet. Now, what is that that's blowing out?
I don't think everything as if
No.
it's going to be.
Like something like that.
That's a grand mark.
So tonight's prom started at Veterans Park in Medford, where the kids had a mocktail hour. That included some food trucks, some live
I don't know how far you want
music,
to go, Jimmy.
just giving them a chance to mingle and get to see each other and take some pictures. And from there, they came down to Main Street. When they got here, they were able to walk down the red carpet with parents on either side. Walk 97 was able to announce their names as they walked through. Everybody was able to cheer for them. They, did a little twirl here and there. From the red carpet, they were able to then enter the theater and go through a long hallway of mirrors. And then through the lobby, they entered Main Street, where there was a DJ set up, music was blasting, lights were going, and to really just bring up that atmosphere.
I think you can stop there.
Yeah, so, and again, that's just to give you an idea. I mean, it's not, we're not gonna, again, we're not gonna shoot confetti. We're not gonna do, and again, I understand, there are residents that live there. I 100% understand that. And I wanted to disrupt them as little as possible. So, but.
We'll get back to
Yeah,
Councilmember.
yeah,
Lewis.
go ahead.
Yeah, so, I guess this actually is for you, Mayor, these next couple questions.
Okay, thanks.
Well, what did the fire company say?
This is the first stop.
Okay,
This is the first stop.
can I just say,
So what did the businesses say?
This is the first stop, and Ivy can speak a little bit to some of the feedback that we've gotten. I've gotten some personally as the mayor, and I think I see a couple faces here tonight that would probably want to say something as well. So hopefully we can take a lot of that into consideration.
So Jack, I'm sorry, was your third question, what was it, what did the chief say?
Yeah,
Oh,
Chief, thanks.
I mean, I was just
What,
following your pattern here.
any input?
It's going to be a closed venue. It's going to be a heavy lift. We've done big events before. Duration is always a concern. Long periods of time, more issues you're going to have. Christmas parade generally block streets down at 4 o'clock and it ends before 10 o'clock. So when you look at those things, you have to try to compare. But we'll actually have whatever resources we need, whatever we want to do. If it's going to be something small, we'll be able to have partners help us. If it's something big, we'll have partners. We'll do the best we can. Simple as that.
Nice part is no alcohol, right, Chief?
And as far as the police end of things, Worcester County Public Sheriff's, or Worcester County Sheriff's Department, excuse me, they have always been our partner in this. We traditionally have 4 to 5 deputies on site, and the mayor and I have spoken about reaching out to other agencies. And to answer your question about what has so-and-so and so-and-so said, I was hesitant to say anything about this before coming here tonight, because I wanted to be respectful of your position and not say, oh, we're having a problem on Main Street. What can we do? What can you help us out? And then it goes out, oh, you guys are having a problem on Main Street. It comes back to you, and then I've come into a hostile environment of, I've put the cart before the horse. So we have spoken about what the next process, what the next steps are, and that's why I said this is very fluid. We have partners on board that we will reach out to, depending on what happens tonight. Tonight is a fork in the road for us. Are we going on Main Street, or are we going to go to our other outside venue?
Which
Yeah.
which is where the rain location.
Yeah.
The rain location, yeah.
So-
That's that you would do that outside?
That outside is, we have to.
And hold on one second, if you don't mind, Jimmy, we'll come to you in just a moment. You asked a question about whether I have reached out to businesses. There have been businesses that have reached out since this has gone live and say, hey, look, we want to help, we want to partner, we want to be able to do whatever we can to help the school. And we've had some that have reached out saying, I have concerns, and this is what I would like to see. I've spoken to some of the council members that have said, hey, look, I've heard some concerns on my end as well. What can we do to adjust? And I think that the takeaway is what Jamie said in the beginning. It's fluid. They're in a moment where they've got a really big challenge, and they're trying to create something that is memorable for the graduating class of 2024, and not prom in the parking lot. So that's where they're at, and they're open to being able to.
Well, I just have a couple more questions, then I'll open it up. Just actually one or two. So, what kind of town services would this require? And are you in a position to cover those costs?
We will, yeah, I mean, we can, and again, I can't tell you what a worker costs to work extra duty overtime. And what am I willing to do? Yeah, I mean, we can cover what we can. I mean, I can tell you that we get zero money from the school. Last year, for the convention center and desserts, our bill ran $15,000 that we covered. 2 years ago, 2022, we did dinner, our bill ran $25,000. We covered it with ticket sales.
So now, I think also to note and to answer your question a little bit, in our work session, we were roo-rah-roo, as my grandmother would say, for the schools, right? And when it came to Buckingham and construction. And when it comes to the cost of this, right, I don't think that this body, I know our job is cost, right, and management of money, but I don't foresee this assist with the school system being such a heavy lift, cost prohibitive wise, that should be the driving force of why we don't do this. And I believe that if anything, of those 500 to 600 ticket sales, we know that socioeconomics vary. And I want to be cognizant that if we are going to end up doing prom on Main Street, I want it to be a place where folks can go and afford to go. So if our costs are the driving force of them not being able to attend, I wouldn't want that personally. Now, with that, and then I do have to get back to Jimmy because I forgot about you, buddy. With that, we've discussed this and staff level have discussed this. It's not a town of Berlin lift solely. Stephen Decatur services Ocean City, Ocean Pines, Berlin, and Worcester County. It is a Worcester County school. So with that, we intend to lean on those partners as far as staff goes. We had discussed requesting 10 personnel from each entity to help assist with our staff. So there will be overtime costs that they would incur as well. And then that doesn't even consider the pluses that the chief is going to need from law enforcement agencies. So when it comes to those things, I think there's going to be costs all the way around the board. And if we try to shoulder the school system with all of those costs, it'd be cost prohibitive. Now, if we were looking year over year, it'd be a different story. But if we're looking at this as a one-off and we're trying to help, then I think that's a more gracious lift. Now, Jimmy, I'm sorry I overlooked you.
So just this weekend, March 30th, we have spring celebration. We'll close the street at 7:30 a.m. It'll be closed at 6 p.m. New Year's Eve, we closed the street around noon. It was closed at 2 a.m. The time that they're proposing isn't any of the time that we
Not
don't.
races.
And half the other events that I can name them all if I had them, but you know, the Blue Fest and all them, they all are 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours a day. So the hours that they're proposing isn't a hardship on us. It's, you know, so we're already doing this type of activity. We're closing the streets the same way this Saturday as they're proposing on April 27th. We're not closing the streets any differently this weekend than they'll be proposing. Now with the tram, there might be a little more congestion or stream, but that's something we'll work with. But as of right now, there's no difference between this Saturday and April 27th, other than the time. But we've closed the streets in the evening though too, on some of the other events that we hold.
Thank you, Joe. I think the other side of that too is like closing, what does that do to our business community? I think all of you are here, we want to definitely have that opportunity to open it up to public comment. But I think that you also need to understand that Jamie's group is really wanting to be a partner in making sure that folks visit your business. If you want special instructions as far as, hey, don't take a picture here, it impacts our business, or if you want to divert folks for certain reasons, I think you all want to be partners in that. And whether that's marketing, whether it's driving folks to Berlin throughout the day and the weekend, whatever that is, we want to be cognizant of that.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
This one's hard for me. I say this because I have a senior that's graduating this year, and this chick's been anticipating her senior year and this farewell to high school because, I mean, she came in as a COVID kid. Her freshman year was done literally via Zoom. She didn't really indicate her until just about her sophomore year. So not just her, but her entire class has had, you know, they've been impacted tremendously by a lot of different things outside of their control. Hearing the full story, my heart bleeds a little. But I tell you, my heart does bleed blue and white through and through. I'm a dedicated graduate, as are my children, the ones that come after, and my grands. But at the same time, as a teacher, as a mother, as a citizen of this town, and a person who represents a larger entity, it scares me. It makes me a little unnerved thinking of, and I'm not taking away from anything, I'm telling you how I feel as an individual. The possibility, I mean, we've all been teenagers, you and I grew up together, so, I mean, you know, we'll keep it like that. But,
That's the next video we're watching.
Easy.
But I've attended prom and all of those other things. We've all done those things. And we're not going to sit here and be naive and say that things don't happen, even though we talk to our children. We know they do. That's the part for me that's hard. You know what I mean? We don't have complete control over what they do when they're not in our presence. I'd hate for, and I don't want to get political, but I'm just going to put it out there. I'd hate for all of that other stuff that's being said by individuals that are tainting what Worcester County Public Schools truly are, to give those people another target and take away from what is and what should be a great time for these students, because someone else is pinpointing and looking with a terrible microscope at what these children are doing at their prom, because it is in a wide open space. So I hate to see something like that. You see what I'm saying? Have an adverse effect. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah. And again, we talk about this being fluid, and I hate to keep using that word, but I think the dialogue goes from, if we decide to move forward, that we go sit, that us, go sit with the sheriff's department, and we have a plan with the sheriff, and say, what can we do so this goes off incident-free? In 18 years, 17 years, whatever it's been, I can tell you, and I don't even need my whole hand to count the number of incidents we've had in a dark room, in a room that's a cavern, and nothing ever major. Nothing ever major.
And can I just say one thing though too? They were so excited, like after
Use
COVID,
the
just
microphone if you don't mind, just because we have some folks that like to pay, you can slide it. It'll go.
It'll slide.
But, yeah, we have some folks that can't hear. So.
Thank you. Okay. So after COVID, I know the students were so excited to just have an event, to be able to go to homecoming or even just prom. And because of that, the excitement of it, they knew they were so well behaved, more than like I have seen. But again, even 8 years teaching and helping him, they really are excited. And we talk to them all the time about, making these right decisions. And I know it is scary being in a wide open space, but that's inevitable anywhere. And I do respect that too. But they are so excited that they really do behave so much better. Just being able to have that experience.
Can you share with me your anticipated day when things will happen?
Sure, the agenda for the day? Sure. So, the mayor and I discussed closure at noon. And the other thing is, we talk about road closure, the footprint starts out small. Because we just need to set...
Just so that we are clear on how we arrived at noon.
Right.
We arrived at noon through a staff meeting, and as Jimmy noted, through discussions of what has been done in the past, that's how we arrived at noon.
Yes, thank you. Yep. Traditionally, we spend all day Friday setting up for prom. Michelle, myself, and a host of kids, 20 kids, 25 kids. We spend all day Friday setting up. Saturday morning, go put the finishing touches on, doors open, prom's on. This year, we don't have that. We need to set up tables, set up chairs, decorate tables, do whatever we're going to do. There's not a whole lot to decorate, to be honest with you. But we don't want to get into a jam and say, oh, we're going to set aside 3 hours to set up. And then we don't have enough time. So, road closes at noon. We start setting up. Yes, sir.
Road closes at noon, but you had said earlier that foot traffic could still be allowed.
Yes, sir.
They would be setting up in the middle.
In the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Right.
And foot traffic would still be circulating.
Yes, so tables in the road. So sidewalks still open. Businesses still open. Business as usual, just no auto traffic. And then at 5:30, the guests start to arrive. We back up.
What about foot traffic at that point?
That would...
At 5 o'clock or slightly before, we would secure the area and move that out. Most of the businesses in that area would be closing around 5 p.m.
Right.
So that would coincide with the closures to be able to then isolate it and let the chief and his crew do what they need to do to secure it and make sure everything's safe, and then start
I
letting
just want to make sure, I'm just checking,
Yeah.
again, as a parent,
Right.
and as the person in this spot, for liability purposes, who's allowed in this spot, in this location?
In
What's
the
going on over there?
cordoned off area,
Yeah.
students, teachers, staff, law enforcement, period. Everybody will be wristbanded. If they don't have a gun on, I don't want to say that. If they're not law enforcement, they're not allowed in. Everybody, staff will be tagged, students will be tagged. So law enforcement knows right away, in or out.
And
Just so
speaking to the in and out, when we talk, I think
Right.
it's an important thing to say.
there is, once you leave, you're done. You are not allowed back in, under any
You're
circumstances.
cutting their wristbands off?
We will cut their wristbands off, yep. Because that's too much liability. We let them go out and come in, what are they coming back in with? And parking is not like at the convention center where it's right out the front door.
Yeah.
There is the tram going and everything, so.
So we're up to 5 o'clock.
So we're at 5 o'clock.
Play by play.
Sweep, 5:30 to get the grand march, which we've never had. We've never had a grand march just because there's not really a location to have it. The mayor and I had talked about it pre-COVID, about doing it in Berlin. Actually, we talked about it was COVID year. We were gonna try to work something out, and then COVID hit, and then yeah.
We didn't talk about it again.
Yeah, right, until the 27th of February, so. So 5:30, we run our grand march, and then.
But that's open to the public.
That is, the sides are open. we'll have like.
It's not the whole length of the.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
The area from where you see this bend of Artisans Way until Commerce. Now, what we were thinking originally was to start it at the War Memorial because it allowed more people to be able to gather.
To view.
It's going to be like a bottleneck here. So if we adjust the way that we did with Artisans Way, you're going to have buildings and you're going to have the fence area. So it's going to look like the Christmas parade, basically, in that area leading up to.
How many trolleys are you running back and forth?
Well, that's
That's
still up in the air.
Yeah, we've talked one, maybe two, depending on what we can get. Again, I didn't want to like start reaching out to people and say what can you help us with, and that's really what I'm going to lean on. And again, I hate to use this word, but I think I know quite a few up there. We're from here. I know a lot. I don't want to say I know a lot of people. I've made a lot of connections over my life here. And I'm going to reach out to those individuals, and I'm going to ask them how can they help us.
The reason I asked is you said the event ends at 10 o'clock, and so you're trying to evacuate, or not evacuate, but
Right.
trolley
Right.
600 kids
Right.
out of the area.
Well, if they all sit, you would be amazed at how many show up, dance for a few minutes, and then having the prom king and queen ceremony earlier, they will trickle out. So it's not going to be a mass exodus. I can almost guarantee that.
And are you having the event catered, or are you bringing food in?
So we have, I've spoken to, and the mayor, some people like the mayor said, have reached out to him. We're going to have some food, we're going to have some drinks. It's not going to be wide open food and drink.
They're looking for partners.
Yes, yeah. So, and the kids will, on the wristband, they'll have like a tag so they'll be able to get a drink, get some food. But little stuff, it's not like they had there. That's kind of what I envision is like some snacks and things like that.
So you indicated setup starts at noon, but that gives you a full 5 hours, and I know you want enough time to make sure it's done correctly. Is there any way that could be shortened to maybe 2 o'clock? I don't know.
Potentially. I mean, I don't want to say
I'm
no.
looking out for our business.
Right, no, absolutely.
Saturday afternoon, late
Yep.
April, it's going to be.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be 80
Correct.
degrees.
It's going to be perfect.
It's going to be perfect, right,
Right.
right. So,
What's your thought on your end, Jimmy, as far as like placement? I know we removed the layer here, but we do want to be cognizant of putting the hard stop barriers. That's one thing that we definitely want is to make sure vehicular traffic, if somebody has a medical emergency and we're to try to, or the car starts to go on its own, we want to stop it from doing that. So the hard stops need to be in place. What do you need time-wise?
Oh, our mobile barriers, we can install everything within about 30 minutes.
So say an hour.
All the streets can be blocked off and barricaded within 30 minutes from the time we cut it down.
So tell me which streets are blocked off and barricaded?
You can pull.
So you have to hit the layer.
Show me the
So-
barricades, please, sir.
It's changed a little bit since
Go up
we
to
done,
town,
but we
like
were,
town services.
At the top.
it looks like we'll put
So where the
barricades.
X's are is where you would have your hard stops.
Right.
Looks like at Rains Reef there, we'll put barricades there.
The only one that would change is you would not have a hard stop at Gay Street and Broad, and you would
Right.
not have a hard stop right there at the Jefferson intersection. That would move over to,
The farmer's market uses that
Rains
same, at Rains Reef, the farmer market stops there, where
So we're
Main and
looking at
Broad.
the, I'm sorry, that's what you're looking at, the farmer's market layout as far as
Well,
start?
we're using a couple layouts, like this weekend's layout and this layout here. But we would do it at farmer's market is at Rains Reef, so we'd have our hard stops there. We'd have them on Pitt Street, we'd have them on Commerce Street, and then probably would have them up at the War Memorial, because we'd want to stop that traffic anyway.
not a hard stop there. We want to keep the traffic. There's been since we had our staff meeting, there's been a request to change the flow to allow traffic for vehicles to still come in and utilize Artisans Way. So we'd need a point person at Powell the way that you would ask, but then anybody coming past that would have to just say, hey, look, I'm going either to West Street or I'm going to downtown.
And that might not make sense.
I
So
know.
it should be something that is, if we decide something we would work on. You would never want to have that many people walking and anybody even coming
If you have
close to driving.
suggestions, we're just trying to make it work
Right,
for
so,
everybody.
again, when we talk about traffic, it's not hard here. The decision to do it is the decision, but we'll be able to make anything work.
Right.
But we'll do it in the most safe way.
Okay, so now we're at 10 o'clock, the prom's over.
I'm going home. No,
The children are now leaving. What happens with all of that stuff that's left in the street?
So we have, and again, this is the not glorious part of it. We clean up, and when we clean up the convention center, in the past, there's been my wife, Michelle, myself, there's like 6 of us. We clean up, we end up helping the staff clean up. So we would have to, and I've already, one of our custodians at the high school has already willingly said, I'll be there to help you. The school has, whether it's equipment that we can use from the school, we clean the tables up, we pack everything up. Depending on who the tables come from, where we get those from, I have a couple feelers out there right now. How we secure them either for the night or if that company comes and picks them up that night. But everything will be, my vision is to have tables, everything done no later than midnight. And it's 15 or 20 of us. I'm thinking we can get it done in an hour.
So that's
11.
60 tables and 600 chairs. And whatever trash is left.
Yeah. But again, you would be absolutely amazed at the behavior, the behavior of these kids. If we ask them to throw stuff away, they'll throw it away. We will, if I need to, if we need to have a street clean company come, then that foots the bill. We foot that bill. I don't think, like I said, we're not shooting confetti. We're not shooting confetti because I'm not cleaning that up. And so I think with the 20, if we have 20 staff members, when I tell people this, they are like, I'm in. And we have so many teachers from Stephen Decatur that live in Berlin. And the ones that, I'll ride my bike there. And I'll come, my husband will come. And so I think we'll lean on the parents, which traditionally we don't at the end of the night, because we want parents to help with after prom at that point of the night, because they need our full force.
So the issue of cost came up earlier. Jimmy, how many crew members would you have there on that Saturday working from noon till midnight?
We would have probably, I would say we're looking probably 6 to 10.
6 to 10 of your crew members?
But we'll have 6 at least this weekend too, yes.
Right, and that being a Saturday is all overtime, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Chief, how many police officers would you have?
It'll be all of them.
Everybody?
And just so that you're aware too, in the calculations, we are asking for the same 10
Right,
from
no, you mentioned.
Worcester,
Yes.
Ocean Pines, and Ocean City.
Right, so there's a cost to the town.
It'd be a cost to all entities, right? Yeah. All right, let's open it up to the folks here in attendance. We'll keep you in the hot seat. We'll open it up to anybody that would like to address the mayor and council regarding potential prom on Main Street. And we have about 2 minutes. I know we've got a large group, so we'll be fluid on that, but let's try to keep the comments to about 2 minutes if possible. Yeah, 2 minutes, yeah. Thank you for the clarification. All right, so anybody that wants to kick us off, raise your hand. Yep, just, if you don't mind, we know each other, but name and who you represent.
Matt
Yeah, can you come up, Matt, could you come up so that the microphone, at least a little bit closer?
Yeah, just if you're near the front, you're good.
Yeah, that's perfect. Just project if you don't mind.
There you go.
I know my problem with this whole thing right now is, first of all, the communication with the restaurants and the businesses in town was pretty much very small, and nobody's asked until tonight our opinion, which we could have maybe worked a little bit easier with it. The fact that you're gonna say people are gonna come to town, I've seen this town, when you guys do an event like that, when you close the streets, bring people to town, they come to town. Saturdays is where this town makes their money as a business. And we've had a very hard winter with rain and wind and snow on Saturdays, so we're already hurting. And to take another Saturday that you're saying business is gonna be there, I've got employees I have to pay, I have payroll to make, and you're gonna shut down Main Street to bring children in for not to be rude, they're not gonna be buying from the stores, they're not gonna be buying from the restaurants. In reality, I can't make my money on burgers and chicken fingers. I got people that come to us every weekend to have dinners and to sit somewhere nice. I do a lot of fundraising for you guys. I've had your things in our place. I don't care if you do it in town. I don't think the business district of town is where it should be done. It's gonna have a very big economic impact. I may not open. If I don't open, I have 50 employees that lose their tips for that day. They lose their wages for that day. And to be honest with you, like I said, we've had a tough winter. It's rained every Saturday. If you want to change the date, a Monday or Sunday, that would be wonderful. I don't mind that. Saturday is a day that we all make our money here in town. And if the town doesn't stick up for us on this one, it's going to be really tough. Because, you know, it's Saturday. I got to make payroll. And Saturday and Sunday and Friday night are the day that I do that. And I understand we do close the streets all the time, but we do it to bring people in to walk the streets and to do stuff. Once you start setting up tables, nobody's gonna walk the streets. You're gonna go, oh my God, look what's going on here, I don't know, let's go. And as soon as you advertise it, we're gonna have a problem, you're gonna say there's gonna be 500 kids. You've got 500 kids, maybe 2 parents per kid, maybe 4 parents per kid. That's a lot of people standing around Main Street. And if you say my access is into my place, if they're all standing on that sidewalk, nobody's going to go through those gaps to get into the building. They're going to pull into the parking lot, look what's going on, and go, oh yeah, I'm out. So I'm not trying to be mean against the school. I think we have plenty of miles of streets here that we could probably do something, but I think most of these people here to say our business district might not be the best place, given that we need that, or not that day. And I feel like I've talked to a lot of people in town today. It's a really tough day to do it for us, and to lose another Saturday. April's a good day. I mean, I pulled my numbers for the past 2 Saturdays in April, and they were really good days last year. And if I'm losing that, it's really, it's just a tough day to do it. We get up every day to run these businesses in town and do this stuff, and my daughter had prom on a football field in Indian River. They put up a big tent, and they had people come in, they put heaters in it. I'm not saying you can't do it in Berlin. I'm just thinking the area that we're looking at is not really the best area for the businesses in town. It's very deflating when you look out the window and our parking lot on the side is empty now. And, because of weather and stuff like that, we're all projecting to hope to go up with the weather getting better. And I just don't see other people coming to town. Yes, the stores close at 5 o'clock, but the restaurants stay open. And we need that business coming to town Friday night. And yes, I would hope some of the people would come in, the parents would come in, but I can't guarantee that. And my problem with that is that not guarantee, it's a lot of money.
And from the very beginning, we had that conversation about how do we understand that some of the boutique shops may close at 5, but how do we get folks in to help with the restaurants? That was, at the very beginning, that was one of our top concerns. So please don't think that we weren't thinking about that. But if you have any suggestions on how we can, if this did work, how could we help?
Like I was saying, I mean, maybe the plan of where you're looking to do things could be stretched other ways or different, south of Main Street as you're going down past the hotel. Is there area to do stuff down there where they could still maybe walk through town, but we don't have tables set up in the middle of town. People are going to feel awkward to walk through town during the day to go to the stores. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea. I'm just saying I don't think the area that we're doing it in is going to help any of the townspeople that have the businesses in town. And yes, there's houses down there, but it is what it is. And when we say nothing ever happens, I will tell you right after the parade came through with the Stephen Cater football team, one of my employees' car was jumped on and they're pouring hot chocolate all over it. So that kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth, because you're gonna let all these people be free in town willy-nilly whenever they want through the night, and yes, we're gonna have police officers here, but there's a lot of places where kids can walk and hide and do whatever they want to do. So it happened when we had police force in town at Christmas. It can happen now. So those are my concerns. I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying I'm against anything. I just think we should look at some different areas in town to help it maybe work a little bit better. Or not a Saturday, right? I mean, not to be rude, I know kids have to go to school on Monday, but maybe we give the kids a day off and we have it on a Sunday. This town is dead at 5 o'clock on a Sunday.
Right.
Not to be rude, but it's...
And to respond to that, we had talked about it, but the dilemma with moving the date is that tuxes have been rented, hair appointments have been made. That's kind of like, we're gonna get some pushback. I mean, and I understand, and trust me, and I totally understand and see that, and I know the restaurant business is hard.
When I have a bad weekend,
yeah,
and it's because of weather, that's God willing, right? I can't do anything about that. But when I have events in town that hinder me, and I gotta make payroll, you know, we're at a time now where we need to start making money, not going backwards with what we're doing. So again, I think the time where you're going is just really where else in town can we make it work? Not do we have to not do it on that day? You know, if you want to do it on that Saturday, that's fine, but we need to do it maybe outside of the business district a little bit, maybe, you know, some different areas that we can look at. There's a lot of beautiful streets in Berlin, but the business district has to thrive.
And here's the other thing too.
Well, let's just, we'll transition if that's okay.
Why were we not talking, like you guys have been talking about this for about a month. Larned St. Amant.
Thank you.
You guys have been talking about this for almost a month. I never heard one thing until Matt came to my store today to tell me. And I'm not saying you should ask our permission, but we're a lot of smart people in this room. We could have come up with after prom Sunday, we could have come up with some really cool ideas, but we can't do that in 5 weeks now. So you want to spring this on us now? I didn't even know about this. And I'm in my store 7 days a week. No one had the courtesy. Who's got my back in this room? No one came to me and said this might happen. No one came to me. I started a business a year ago on Main Street. I'm struggling every day to make that business work, and no one mentioned this to me. I'm in that store every single day, or at Ruder Hill. You know where I am. You could have just come in and said, we have a merchant meeting. We have people, we're smart. Matt, we could have come up with a cool idea. We could have done a promotion on Friday, a sip and shop. We could have done after prom Sunday. We could have welcomed it, but no one asked us. And now you're just telling us now. It's like, it's not fair. It's really not fair. And I think it looks awesome. I think it would be a great thing to do, but not in 5 weeks and not without any input. There's a lot of us. We could have all helped. I'd have rode my bike up and broken down the damn tables. I do it all the time, but nobody even considered us. We weren't even considered. This is our livelihood. I mean, I would love to have the prom there. I would have loved it. My son went to Decatur. That would be cool. I'd be the first one screaming and hollering. But why? We just found out today. I mean, I found out today, middle of my work shift, that this is going on. It's not fair. It's just not fair. I'm sorry. It's just not fair. I mean, we are a community. We're all a community. We're here together. I want to help support this, but I can't. We've had no preparation for this. We've had no business January, and nothing to do with anything. It's just been a very slow winter. So now the Saturday, which could be the most beautiful Saturday on the planet, and don't tell me that people are going to come shop. They won't. Berlin is an experience. It's an experience. You're going to come. You're going to be with your girlfriends. People are going to be unloading tables. You're going to leave. You're going to leave. Or you're not going to come because you know what's going to happen. And I'm sorry. I'm sad because I really would like to see it happen. But we can't. I mean, I can't support it. I'm sorry.
Lorna, if you don't mind, Jamie references the 26th, but we didn't have a go-ahead from his group until after our last mayor and council meeting, at which time, as soon as we had that go-ahead, we had a staff meeting together and we pushed it right directly to the council. This is the first opportunity that we have had as a mayor and council to discuss the idea of this. It really is.
But you've been talking about it since February.
I brought this.
We've not been talking about it since February.
No. The mayor and Stephen Decatur have been in discussion since February.
Hold on one second. We've discussed the idea that they've been out of the venue. I kicked the idea of possibly prom on Main Street because we don't have anything else to offer to hold folks in town. And then they went back and deliberated. We've kept in communication, but we didn't get the go-ahead from Stephen Decatur until after.
That's okay, but why, when you started discussing it with him, did you not think to come and talk to the townspeople, to the businesses, and say, what are your thoughts on this idea?
How can we all work together? How can we all work together?
But
Because I had suggested to Laurinette, knowing that you're going to close the streets, we could have, on top of that, done a spring yard sale, sidewalk sale, that the businesses could also partake in the fact that this road is going to be closed all day. We could have brought people to town while they're setting up, okay? Because that's what, you know, road closures, yes, we do them all the time, but the idea of that is to bring people in town. You're not bringing people into town to shop. You're actually closing, and the other thing is, my concern is for those kids. Because I was wondering before this meeting, how are you going to keep people out of your event? Because people walk their dogs on Main Street every night. People live in those apartments. Are you going to tell someone that lives up above, you know, the old antique shop that they can't go in and out of their house because if there's an event going on in their Main Street?
Absolutely not. But I mean, as far as the timeline goes though, it's not been withheld from anyone. As soon as we had the go-ahead from the school system, we had a group meeting with the staff to be able to figure out what this would kind of look like. Otherwise, we're just talking about ideas. And then it was sent to the council and put on the agenda for a public discussion tonight. It's not been, nobody's tried to hide anything. As soon as we had the opportunity, we put it on a public agenda.
So I guess what we're saying is we can't do it in 5 weeks.
And
We're
we
all
hear,
saying
we
like
hear,
the
we
idea,
hear
but
you.
not in 5 weeks.
It feels like we're slipping this into it. It's like, oh, we're just gonna have this meeting tonight, we won't really say anything about it, which is not.
And even if that's not true, I think we all say we can't do this, I'm sorry, in 5 weeks, on a Saturday in April. Successfully.
Whoever would like, just name and who you represent, or.
This is going to be quick. Matt Burrier, Burley Brew Company and Viking Tree. A lot of, my mind works pretty quickly, so as I'm hearing things that are coming up, I just start thinking of things. So, you know, you're concerned about safety for the kids. I don't know if, has the football field been thought of as a place to do it? Because then that's fenced in. It's a large area, it's still outside. But my concern with it being outside in April, you know, dresses that people wear, it could be 40 degrees. How comfortable is it going to be for people to be outside in the first place? But, you know, and one of the other things that, you know, Zach brought up about, and then when you brought up about the amount of money that you guys have to raise to have these functions, you know, us as a business community would love to work with that to, you know, like Zach said, make it affordable for everybody. So, you know, stopping business on a day doesn't help that. So if, you know, we come to, you know, like I said, we do it at the football field, you know, we can get together with the businesses, have meetings with you guys for going forward, for us to come up with ways for fundraisers, whatever, to basically pay for that prom year over year, so then they don't have to buy tickets to go to the prom, they can go to the prom for free. And we're willing to work with anybody to do that kind of thing, but it's just, you know, shutting the businesses down, you know, on a Saturday, just, you know, like I said, it could be great, it could be 80 degrees and sunny and great, but then coming 6 o'clock, that 80 degrees, sun starts going down and it winds up being 40 degrees and everybody's uncomfortable anyway, then there's a mass exodus. We blocked off the streets for all this time, people are there for an hour. You know, does that really make a whole lot of sense? So, you know, once again, we're willing to work with them. You know, like I said, my mind works in mysterious ways to find different venues for that and you know, be willing to help. We have tents that we have at Burley Oak that we don't even use, that we would be willing to donate.
Well, you know,
they're
Matt, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off, but you said something that I didn't ask you about, but because my child cut me down, so I stopped, but I knew I would ask you later. So remember you had homecoming, their sophomore year, out on the field, Mom, we can't do prom there because there were divots in the field, and I was like, so listen, even if it wasn't the main field, what if we, I mean, I personally feel that it could be the main field. She was like, what about heels? What about this? What about that? I mean, what about having prom, sister? You know what I mean? That's my take on this. But if the worry is the divots in the field and those types of things, what about the practice field that we used? Well, my husband said the tennis courts. I was like, dude, how you get all them kids in that daggone tennis court? But anyway, what about the field that's over by that's up where we did field hockey? You know what I'm talking about? The field hockey field behind the tennis courts. If the tents were up there, walled in, I mean, Matt's offering to help with tents, he just said that. So if tents were up top, you know what I'm saying, and we did the flooring appropriately, I don't want to take prom away from my child or any other child, but this right here is crazy hard for me. I can't, with where my brain sits, I can't say yes to this. I cannot. As a parent, as a person who sits here to help with the people who operate this town, the people who live here, I can't say yes to that. And as a person who works for the school system, I don't want to give those folks anything else to talk about. I really don't. You know what I mean? Right. And then we can talk to her green in the face and say they're going to be here to help us, but the moment that something goes off the rails, right. You know what I'm saying, that ruins our image. So long and the short of it, if we could change the location to Decatur, is that a possibility, a possible possibility with our support some kind of way?
So I coach soccer.
Yeah.
And after homecoming, there were, we had the next event on the stadium. I had my players walk the 120 yards by 75 yards and pick up earrings, corsage pins. I mean, we're talking needles that big that we were on a Thursday night, I believe, or Tuesday, and then they had football the following couple days. That needle goes into somebody's foot. You're talking $500,000 piece of AstroTurf.
That's the same here, though. There's somebody gets it in their foot here, or something, the baby gets it walking around the next morning. That doesn't, yeah.
No, heck no. No, absolutely not okay. I'm saying that it's easier to clean the street than it is to clean that field. I mean, the field is backfilled. There's a lot to it. And trust me, I have 4 little ones, 8 to 2, and I would not want them to have that happen. And trust me, I hear it. I hear everybody's concern.
Can I say one thing to that?
Yeah.
What you just said, the streets don't easy to clean, these streets are dark, I'm not providing. If you couldn't do it there, you're not gonna be able to get everything up here, so you just said basically that you didn't get that cleaned up. Well, that was one of our concerns.
No, it was not cleaned up.
I understand what I'm saying.
Right.
It was not cleaned up well.
No. Not well, not.
You know, these streets are dark, you're gonna miss those things, they're gonna be sitting in the gutters the next morning. You know, it's not perfect, so.
My streets aren't very dirty after an event. I'm just gonna say, by saying that, my streets aren't dirty when I leave this town. And if I have to run that sweeper an extra 2-3 times, that sweeper runs. So I understand everybody has good and bad points, but my streets are clean. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't want to take away from the public comment, but I think it brings up a good point about location. You already have a rain date location. First off, I think the idea is cool. I do. And perhaps it's something in the future that we can work together on, assuming this doesn't happen with the vote. But you already have a rain location. Wouldn't it be easier in 5 weeks to do it there? And then you don't have to worry about weather.
It's on a parking lot.
I thought it was in the gym of
It's a parking lot. After prom, we can't use the school.
No. Yeah.
We can't, because after prom is
parking lot in the intermediate.
And at the high school you have.
So what were you gonna do if it rains? They were just gonna be wet in the parking lot?
No, there'd be a tent parking lot.
So get a tent, okay. I'm sorry.
No. So, and again, the tent thing, I mean, so coming out of COVID prior to us being allowed indoors, which is about the same time frame we're talking about here. We went from a tented event that just for the tents was about $12,000 to $13,000.
So, crazy idea, what if you had a tent at Stephen Decatur parking lot?
We don't, it's not big enough because it's, well, the problem is the obstructions. Yeah. Because you have the light posts.
And you've got all that.
And you've got, and right, and you've got after prom traffic, you have parking issues.
Let's get back to our,
Yes.
let's get back to our public comment.
Just to keep us on task here, our decision here tonight is whether the prom planning proceeds downtown.
Correct.
It is not to figure out what needs to happen if it's not held downtown, because that's not our responsibility. So we just need to stay on task as it relates to, do we go forward with downtown?
So Cindy Krempel, representing Berlin Chamber of Commerce and our membership. I am with our people as far as, especially the restaurants, but the retail stores as well. I think that on another additional Saturday, it would create a financial burden for them, particularly in the spring. You know, when everybody is out, they're excited to be out, they're excited to be, you know, that winter is done. So I do agree with them. But have you, your rain date is in a parking lot, I mean, okay. But have you considered potentially Stephen Decatur Park? So you can rent some flooring, you have walkways, you could put the sails up in the trees, and make it really cool. Put tables everywhere, you can utilize the tennis courts. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. That could be pretty cool. So that could be another option for you.
That was brought up earlier today as well as a potential option. We haven't given it an exploratory
Yeah, I think that would be like a really, really cool.
Yeah.
Even the promenade is already there with the walkway and everything. So it's kind of cool.
And again, from a safety concern
I think that would be the biggest challenge.
Right, how to cordon that off, to talk about dark places, to be able to light it.
Well, you can rent lights, you can cordon off just like you are in town. You can, you know, there's,
So
I
it's a
think there's
smaller
ways.
space, so all of your officers, all of your folks would have a smaller space to
Put the lights up in the
patrol,
trees.
not patrol, but whatever.
Patrol.
Yeah.
Add
that
it
right
to, you're
there.
good. Add it to, you're good. Patrol.
Yeah, that right there to patrol and whatnot. So I mean,
Lights up in the trees
Laura,
would
I'm
be
sorry.
great, like even disco balls. I mean, there's a lot you could do over there.
I'm Laura Stearns, I'm from the Atlantic Hotel. And I think the reason why this is so difficult for you and for us and for everyone is because it's such an emotional topic. And as a mom, I completely understand. My daughter was a victim of 2020, lost the prom, lost the senior London trip, and I'm still sick about it to this day. I have a lot of Stephen Decatur students that work for us at the Atlantic, and I want nothing more than for them to have a nice prom. But I just feel like you should understand what it's like as a business in the town of Berlin. And I think I can speak for all the restaurants and most of the boutiques. The economy this year, we've been faced with, the economy's been terrible. We've had an increase in minimum wage. The food costs have become astronomical. Add to that the terrible weather that we've had. It's difficult to keep businesses running in the town of Berlin. I know it because I talk to people every day. I'm involved in the downtown. I'm talking to the business people. We have 52 Saturdays a year. Think about it. How many of those are cold weekends? How many are rained out? How many are, other events? Having another event in what possibly could be a beautiful Saturday is detrimental to the town. And what we have to do is put the emotional part aside And we have to think, what's the best thing for the town of Berlin? And I feel that logistically, because I also plan events at the hotel and other places, it's gonna take a lot of manpower and cost money to plan essentially 2 events. 1, if it's a great day and you're having it in the town. 2, if it needs to be moved somewhere else. April is iffy. It's gonna be chilly at night, no matter what. The girls are gonna be in thin dresses. I think that you should figure out the, first choice inside somewhere. I don't know where it can hold 600 people. If it has to be outside, tents and heaters, whatever. But I just think that logistically, that downtown Berlin is just not good. It's not a good option for the town in general.
Hi, Melissa Esham. My son is a 21 graduate of Stephen Decatur. 10 moms got together and held the prom that year. We did it at the Vineyard. We had 300. A lot of our 2021 kids invited 2020s as their dates. We did it alone without any help from the school system at all. But I can say, we've never had a Grand March. Always been jealous of Snow Hill and Pocomoke that they had this opportunity. And if there was a Grand March in town, and I'm watching my kid, I'm going to your store, I'm going to your restaurant, I'm having a drink afterwards, I'm so excited, and they go off to a safe place, wherever it is. Shanika, I know you got your mommy hat on, but the truth of it is, in 300 kids, we did not have a police officer there. We had Bikers Without Borders lining our event, because that's who we could get. And we did it, and they were well behaved, and they were good, and they were so happy to be there. It is a different type of event for these children. And I know that we don't want to do it, but that Grand March, even that part, if we could bring it into downtown Berlin, where parents and just onlookers, I would come and watch those kids in a minute, and then I would go and have a nice drink.
So, I don't have a problem if we did a Grand March in town. You close the street later in the afternoon, you do that, that's over shortly, and then maybe go to the park and do something, that's fine. I just love the full day of...
And I think you're saying you want to be fluid, and so I just want to come out strongly. I don't think you're going to have a security problem. You have real police, we have bikers. You have teachers who already know these students.
Yeah.
I'll
volunteer wherever this happens because I need to make sure it's.
Right.
No, I believe you that.
But I just want to say, this town, I know you are. You've done amazing things before. Don't throw this 5 weeks at us. We can do this.
I mean, you have the community support here a little bit, have to find some balance.
Right, I mean, hit the moms. I will dial my 6 prom moms right now and say, 2021, let's come back. I can hit the 1995 moms. Karen Costanzo will be there. I mean, I'll pull out the people who never leave the house. Like, what do we need to do to help, and why can't Berlin host?
And hold on one second if we can. I think that I love seeing all of you here tonight, and we can spend as much time as we want on this, really. But I think Jamie said it in the beginning, they're in like crisis mode. And I think that if we can put our heads together in some fashion to figure out what we can do to help, I think that's what the lens that we've always approached it from. So
I think that's what we're saying. I don't think any of us are opposed to having a Grand March downtown. Maybe some of the businesses stay open another hour so they get some business from it. That's fine. It's the closing the street at noon. People are not going to come to town to do anything that day. It's a loss of revenue for us. So having a Grand March and maybe then busing the kids down to the park and doing something with kids down there would be a lot better for the town people than for us to close the streets at noon, start setting up tables, start decorating, because people are going to walk up and go, oh, it's not, I guess they're going to go over.
And then have to tell everybody at 5 p.m. you can't be downtown.
Right.
I mean, we hear you. We're just we're figuring it out together on the fly. You mentioned a little while ago time, and Larnette, you mentioned time. we haven't had much more than what you all have right this moment. So, I mean, we're open to those conversations about how we can figure
But
it
what
out.
were you gonna say? To Melissa's point, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, what she suggested, by bringing the parents in for the Grand March, you're not making the restaurants close at 5 o'clock, like you are right now with your current proposal. The current proposal is, you're shutting down Berlin at 5 p.m. and nobody except the students can be in downtown Berlin, correct?
We're only saying that from, just so that we're clear on like the floor plan that we're talking. We're talking from Artisans Way, south. Okay, but I just want to make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. So you're abreast of like where we're talking about, right? So from south of Artisans
410
Way.
Social, would people still have access to 410 Social?
Absolutely.
Because I heard
because-
a barricade was going down at the end of Pitt Street,
No,
correct?
it wouldn't go down at the end of the
You're
street.
on the other side of it.
I guess it doesn't, I don't want to sit here and argue if you're coming down, because I wouldn't.
We don't want to argue, we want to be
Right, but
constructive.
I'm just saying, in reality, you know, the age group of people that we have that really aren't coming, if they know this event's going on, and they're closing that main street, they're not gonna come to town. I have a feeling the Grand March is a great idea down Main Street, and I'm fine with that, I think we would all be fine with that, they can do some extra business in town with the parents, I'm fine with that. But closing the main street at 5 o'clock, I don't care where you close it, it's gonna deter people from being down here. We paid for bands already, we have things going on, I need those people to be wanting to come downtown that night. I don't understand why the park doesn't sound like a good idea, I think that sounds like something nice that they could do. And it's just not downtown Berlin for the whole day that night, it's just.
So let's go, let's visit that, because this is fluid. And believe me, I want to see prom happen. I don't want there not to be a prom. So let's look at this logistically. The Grand March on Main Street, a portion thereof, and then this event were to happen. Say Grand March went from right about here, like from the hotel towards Tripoli Street, and the prom happened at the park. Can we make this, what can be done to make this prom happen in the confines of Tripoli Street / Steve Decatur Park area? Jimmy, you would still be able to put your barricades up, correct? You guys would still be around to make sure things happen. So you've got 10 people in a smaller space. And then you're going to the chief's bringing all his folks. And then you're going to ask for an equal amount of folks from all the other places. So if your location is Tripoli Street and all that stuff is blocked off, literally with all these people you're talking about, they're going to be arm to arm to arm from 113 all the way around Burley Street, Tripoli. Nobody's going to get anywhere. That place, to me as a parent, I'd feel a little safer, even if we're blocking off people going towards the pond area. If you've got all these people, that spot is a little more closed off. If we tent part of it up so that when it does rain, if it does rain, when it does get cold, because it's gonna get cold, you can. Well, I mean, come on, let's be real. After dark, it's gonna get chilly.
How many people can fit, Ivy, in the parking lot on the north side of Steve Decatur Park?
Here's one of the problems with the park, and I don't know the answer, but I'm putting it out here. I do not know that we wouldn't have to bring in generators.
Yeah, you probably would.
That's gonna compete with your music in a big way.
Music
I
is
don't
loud.
know. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm saying I think that would be the case.
anywhere though.
But I mean, music is loud.
Well, no, on Main
How
Street
many
we have electric.
How many people do you think you could
Yeah.
fit in the parking lot there? Can you fit 600 with tables?
You got 2 parking lots.
Oh, yeah.
You
You
can
have 2
fit,
parking
no,
lots.
I mean,
And the street.
I don't,
Sorry.
what two park, the two
The
across?
parking lot
Yeah,
over
okay,
there.
I mean, you could
Parking
close
lot
it in
Yeah.
such a way
and the
that you
street.
could use the parking lots and the street for that matter.
I'm talking about closing all of Tripoli, from the church to the highway, closed. And
Well, yeah,
all of
yeah,
your
but-
folks are out
But
here.
I think we gotta have a spot to like keep students contained.
Being tables under the trees,
Right.
you know, there's lots of.
And the park,
pretty
in
cool
some,
there's
in some
no-
ways it gets really wet, so we just gotta
So
be.
if there's no food, if there's no, I mean, usually you have a, if you're at a wedding, you have a table where you're,
We're listening.
Go ahead, Ivy.
so usually you need a big round table if you're having, you know, dinner and you sit down. I mean, I remember my prom was at a place and it was like a wedding.
But if you don't have any food, I don't see why you need all the tables. I mean, you could have some high tops, you could have some barrels. You don't really need, I mean, that's a lot of setup for snacks and punch. That's just my thought.
I just don't want kids in pretty dresses sitting on the ground on a parking
Right,
curb.
you could have all those chairs, but I mean,
Laid out different.
People
More
are
like
gonna be
a park set.
dancing.
You can get a floor to cover the field. At IR, they did it right on the main football field, and I don't know what the flooring was, but you call from AR, and it
Rent a
just
dance
rolls out
floor.
into rented floor. So that protects the field, it makes cleanup easy, you can put gas heaters on it to keep the kids warm. They
It's
do a
a-
great time.
They-
Main football field. And
they
they did the
won't-
Grand March, I'm sorry, parents sat in the stands, and then the Grand March was right around the tracks. Pictures, it was cool.
All right.
Hi, Sarah Henbury, Washington Street. Mr. Goodwin, bless you for doing this,
Yeah.
17 years, and you're a teacher, and you have 4 children under the age of 8, so, yeah.
Thank my wife.
So, there's,
It's on the public record.
I have been the
We'll get it
co-chair
updated.
for our hospital's anniversary celebration, which is 600 people in a field party. And I cannot invite 600 people outside without a tent. I mean, that tent goes up, and they're right. I mean, there's infrastructure involved with inviting 600 people in outfits, in hairdos, and tuxes to an outside party. And bless you for trying, and I do have a question for you too, Mayor, but it's a lot. I mean, there's generators, there's lights, there's bathrooms, it's a whole situation, and I'll be glad to join your table and help you with any of that knowledge I have. But we always have a tent, and we have a rain plan tent, but that stuff goes up on Thursday. That stuff goes up days before the event actually happens.
And that's,
So
we thought that would have to be.
two questions. Mr. Mayor, when did you start entertaining these conversations without inviting these people? Because you did mention back in 2020 you had some conversations.
I brought that up, during COVID?
Yes,
And we didn't
so
talk,
couple-
we
so
talked
four
one
years.
more
We
time.
talked about Grand March, just
Oh,
Grand March.
March.
Grand March, that was it.
Beautiful idea,
Right.
beautiful idea.
Right.
I mean, look at these people. I mean,
Not rough.
$1,000 is $1,000. They need the money.
We
And
talked,
then,
just to
did
clarify, we did talk some point in 2020, that we talked again by the tennis courts.
Well, I just don't even-
At some point after that, and then again in February of this year, so.
and also, why is the stadium off the, why are we not talking about attending the stadium on Thursday?
The stadium's artificial turf, you can't put anything,
In
you
on
can't drive anything in
Got
it.
it. Okay, all right.
And even,
Okay.
there's concern when they do graduation on the stadium,
Okay.
with all that, so, I mean, high heels are.
Oh, no, I get it.
zero.
I invite 600 people in high heels to a
Right,
party.
right, but it's on grass.
On the grass,
Right,
always on the grass.
Right. This is on artificial turf that can't be pierced, and
Oh.
it's backfilled with
Well-
rubber pellets, and
Okay,
it
well,
melts
there's
if
a
it gets
lot.
hot.
I mean, inviting 600 people to an outside event is no small feat. And for the hospital party that we do, we start planning that in November for a May event.
And like I said, we didn't, this is,
Didn't know.
This was not-
I know.
right,
And
right,
look,
right.
You got
This
my
is Hail
number.
Mary,
I will
honestly.
join your table. I will help problem solve. I will help problem solve.
So
Appreciate it.
Jamie,
Thank
from the standpoint of Stephen Decatur Park, if we spanned both of those parking lots, is that, and did some form of a grand march through town and ended there, do you think that would work for your old, for you? Oh, I thought,
No, I'm just.
oh, all right. I didn't know if you were ready to condemn me again or what. Bring the Lord into the conversation.
Grand Park from downtown to the park.
Oh, you're talking about that.
We have a parade longer than that.
so you're talking about
Can
if
we
you're
zoom out of
headed
this
towards
map?
113
And go over to the park.
from along Tripoli Street.
Right here, zooming into.
It's 536 steps.
So this doesn't show it, maybe we can go to.
What heels?
What are you trying to?
Wanted to show the parking lots, if possible, just so we have an idea.
And so it's the one like.
Jay said he's gonna open his house, so right here,
All black
Kingsford Court. Public restrooms. That could get wild.
Well, even if it started like right by Buckingham Church and around the corner, I mean, I know that's a lot of steps, but
Well, if you're gonna do the shuttle, but go to the map one and then just do the layers and you can see you should be able to see
If you
right there on the bottom left
down
where
the
it
bottom,
says
see the
layers.
little yellow guy, there you go.
There he is, little guy.
Bring it out so you're looking down.
Okay.
We even have restrooms already, look.
You're so
Oh,
funny,
goodness.
Mr. Mayor.
The
gotta have
rest, you can't have porta potties at
You
prom.
cannot.
I know, we've talked about this.
We have pretty ones.
All right, go ahead, right on in.
All you do is go to Sally.
Right there on the bottom left.
Sure.
there.
He thought backseat driving was bad, let us backseat map drive.
Because, you know, it's always comfortable to have someone direct you.
Yeah, exactly. Where you know you want to go, you just can't get there.
Perfect.
Beth,
Can you zoom in a little bit more if you don't mind?
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
You want the parking lots, right?
Yeah, I would think if you could keep it contained to one parking lot, that would be the best.
Sorry, it would be, yes, that would
Just to keep us kind of official, are we done with public comments?
What?
To keep us kind of official, are we done with public comment?
Here's one more.
No,
Okay.
we'll still keep public
All right, come
comment.
on
We
up.
were just trying to see if maybe in an effort of consensus building, we could come up
Put
with
your
something.
tent there, but you have
Can you
the
just
other
give us one
kids
second?
down
very,
there.
very wet. It can be really wet out there.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do Stephen Decatur Park, you gotta do
Parking
asphalt.
lots in the street then.
And Jamie, did I hear concern over distance and heels, or no? Was there not a concern in that? I've never walked.
I don't-
in high
I mean-
heels.
500 steps is a way.
We're not gonna, no, you would not,
No.
we would not, we would have to have some kind of transportation. Because,
From one-
again, now we run into we thought parking was
Solved.
an issue with, on Main Street. This is, everything's 100% off-site. There's nothing in walking distance.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to figure out a way to get the tram not on 113.
You have to
And
go on Church Street. If he dropped off on Church Street from church to
It's
church.
all like
that's a height, girl.
Take your shoes off, girl. Ladies, prepare.
You tell your daughter that.
Yeah,
You tell your daughter that.
Let me tell
Can
you
you
what I would
FaceTime?
tell her, just what her mother does.
Right.
Bring your flip-flops in your purse,
Right.
put those, wear those to the event, and then put your shoes on when you get. I've got a trainer, she learns it now. I'm just saying, learn it now, because that's what we all do. But, I mean, listen, I want prom to happen, but at the same time, happening on Main Street does not seem conducive. I want to work with you, Greenwood, I love you. We've been together since the 6th grade. I mean, I want to make this happen. I want my child to have a prom, but it's not happening on Main Street. I can't, these guys don't want it there. I don't know how many of you all want it there. I can't realistically see it happening on Main Street, but I'm trying to offer alternatives. So if he came on Church Street, would you, ladies, you're sitting right there. You're about to go to prom, right? If I asked you to bring some flip-flops in your purse to get you so you had a prom, would you bring some flip-flops in your purse so you had a prom?
But hold on, but again, let's play the weather card. If it's hot, don't worry about that. We'll get, we can,
Yeah.
if that's, we're splitting hairs here. We
Yeah,
need,
let's go back to public comment for a moment, see if we get another idea. Keep going.
Jody Holman just actually happened to be here, but I'm a parent of a junior, so it's our first year getting a prom. I just have to, I know we're not here to solve where it goes, but no one's engaged the parents. So
Right.
I struggle that this is now town's issue.
right,
When you actually haven't engaged any of us or anybody that owns businesses that might make hard choices on their own to, decide of some other solutions. There's people that own hotels, there's like in these classes that are both graduating and junior year. So while I appreciate that the town is willing to step up, but I live right here, town proper, and it feels like it's a heavy, I know we said it's a light lift, this is a heavy
We didn't
lift.
say it was a
No,
light
it's not light.
No, it is.
It's not gonna be
It's a
light.
group.
It would be, especially in the time constraint. It's a
Yeah.
very heavy lift.
So I would implore you to actually maybe open this up and let parents know what's happening and see, or select who you go to, and see if there's anybody that is willing to help,
Right.
just from the community basis.
Right.
So.
and again, we are, the problem is time.
Yeah.
And
You
So-
teach, you coach, you plan prom. I mean, it's a lot. We all got a lot on our plates, but I mean, you can't knock them for trying to take the easier route to talk to bigger entities.
I understand, but there's probably some that are also within the, families of some of those students too.
Thank you.
Is there another part of Main Street that the iconic part of Berlin, and not to take away from Stephen Decatur Park, the iconic part of Berlin is that Main Street Drive. What's another part of Main Street that is, I mean, if you look at like from,
I don't know how many people the Taylor House can hold. Jack, you know?
They cannot hold 600.
Inside the house.
Inside the Taylor House?
Inside the Taylor House.
They can't hold 600.
I'm joking with you.
That's what I 45.
Well, if you get 600.
What about as far as like tenting the grass area there? I don't know if that's possible. It keeps within the parking location. What's your, you handle lots of crowds?
Where?
Ivy?
Pardon?
You handle a lot of crowds. How many people can you put in that footprint that's not Main Street? Taylor House.
Taylor House,
No, too small.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna go against what Chief says.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm asking.
Small footprint.
Too small? Okay.
Your venue is like 100 plus people.
Venue that's right up the road.
Mercer.
Mary Sherwood.
I don't know if there, I don't know whether that's down the other way, but what is they put chairs all out down on the thing, that way, out there, right down the road from.
If we're talking 600 people, I'll tell you what we've talked about. The inside of the track at the casino, that can hold it.
we're not allowed at the casino, they don't allow anybody.
Even outside, they don't want you.
I already checked with them.
Sunset Park in downtown Ocean City, they hold 1,000 people for a craft beer festival.
They're at races all the time.
What's that?
They're at races all the time.
The children
Right,
at the
but-
horse races out there.
Yeah, so we've talked to them about putting the tent in the middle of the horse field, where the horses go round and round, all the kids are in the middle of the field. Just throwing it out there, because I know it's 600 people, it's huge. And then the other one, what was my other brilliant
You
idea?
said Sunset Park and then.
Sunset Park has held 1,000 people for the craft beer festival, the casino, oh yes, and the theme park at Frontier Town.
Yeah, what about the beach or
Sorry,
Northside Park?
I'm in this meeting a lot where they say, hey, we need to have 600 people in a field. So, sorry.
So, I don't know if we're making any headway tonight. Do we want to close the public comment? Do you want to act? Do you want to, what do we want to do here? I think that we can always talk offline about some other viable pathways, but.
I just want to say thank you for everybody. I do appreciate everybody in the crowd, everybody who's here. Like I said, my parents had a business for 26 years. I know the struggle. I know the struggle. It's a life. And I mean, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I get it. I worked for my parents for nothing because that was what was best for the family. And trust me, I get it. I understand the restaurant business. I understand the commerce part of it. And I do. I appreciate everybody's input tonight, and we'll figure it out. But I like the venue, but if that's not going to work, because I don't want anybody to come back and Stephen Decatur is my home.
Yeah.
And it's been my home since 1989, with the exception of a couple years. So I don't want anybody to be upset at the high school. And so if it doesn't work, then we can
I
park it
I
on.
think it's a super cool idea. I think it'd be wonderful for the town. However, I think we need to engage the business community, engage the parents, and take a year to plan it out. It's not something that will happen this year.
So, Mr. Greenwood,
Yes, sir.
instead of us instead of voting on it, would you be willing to withdraw the motion?
The request.
The request?
It's really not.
Or, I mean, we could take no action.
It's
I just don't want to
yeah.
be
Doesn't
like, no.
require.
I mean, there's options. I mean, I think, like I said, when I first heard it, it was really cool. I just think the time, the location, the hours are just not in the best interest of the town at this particular point.
I think everyone agrees that the aesthetic would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's the other pieces.
The
that-
logistics,
You just need to plan it out, I mean, that's all.
Right, right. In an ideal world, we would have come to you 6 months in.
No, I
gone through the
understand.
permitting
I
process.
understand completely.
Right. I mean, I don't want, and like I said, I'm not trying to sneak one in. I told the first day we talked to the mayor, and I said the 27th jokingly, by the way, that's when I got the call. It was after that, and the mayor said, we just had our council meeting. And so whatever days after that was. So it wasn't like we tried to scoop one under the radar, so.
I think all of us would be over to Stevie Gator Park, though, if you would like to explore that.
I'm not against it, to walk it, to say, and again, it would be, I mean, if that's an option, then maybe we go that route. Now,
Explore that and explore the IS and see if anything else pops up.
right, now, what about the Grand March, if we do, it seems like there's a favorable say in that.
We don't care where you go.
Keep in mind though, when you say you don't care, but keep in mind that a grand march would mean shutting the road down.
But that's like at 5:30, right?
Well,
6 o'clock at night.
you can't just shut it down for the period of the grand march. We would want to secure that with hard stop barriers. We would want certain things in place. You would have, yeah, you would still have several hours.
An hour,
I
right?
guess what I'm saying is,
Not an hour. No.
He said that's days to set it up.
but I'm not worried about it can take 3 hours.
Yeah.
If it's in the afternoon, and people are gonna come to town and take pictures and do stuff. The hard problem we have is setting up the tables and doing all that stuff, starting at noon, it's gonna prohibit business. I'm not saying that I'm not into maybe looking at this next year, where we can have more planning and maybe find a way to do it. Maybe not have it on a Saturday, maybe have it on a Sunday evening. Business is very slow on a Sunday evening. I know the kids have school, maybe we find a way to give them a day off the next day.
Hey, Jamie.
I don't know,
Can I
but
talk to Patrick about
I just think it's too short of a time for us to try to shove it in on a Saturday afternoon and have us lose business because of it. I'm okay with the march because people are gonna come to town. You know, the parents are gonna come to town.
I think that as far as this year goes, I think that if they're having to plan prom somewhere else, I think planning a grand march downtown is gonna be too difficult in 5 weeks. I think maybe we revisit that next year if that's a potential option, but I'll do anything we can to help you. You know that, you got my number, call, whatever we can do. But I don't think
Jamie,
it's...
I would say the same for many restaurants, if we can
Yeah,
help
we-
with
we'd be willing
gift
to
cards
help.
or, you know,
Okay.
I can't cater for 600, but anything like
Well,
that.
and we can just say, next year, if it's something that's planned and we can help do some tables for you inside the event and do stuff, it's great, but it needs to be not just on, hey, we have to do it on Saturday, because that's, like I said earlier, that's the day our town makes money, we have people that come from other towns just to come walk around town, and when it's disrupted like that, not to be rude, they leave quickly. And it's just, and when they do,
They go to Ocean City. No, I understand. I do. Yeah. So, can I ask this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because again, I think Grand March would be, if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna be in Berlin, I mean, it's either if we decide, like, the park, or if we end up at BIS on the parking lot. They're both close enough to shuttle. Would that be a possibility to do Grand March for an hour from, let's say, I don't know, 5 to 6?
We would, if we did that, and Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, we would need to still make security accommodations. So the closure, I just want to be cognizant with everybody here that the closure would still probably span a little before the dinner hour and a little after the dinner hour. I don't think you're going to end up with...
I mean, would you talk like 4 to 7?
Well, yeah,
I
I
mean, if
think
we
that's
did,
fine,
if we
but
did
like,
Grand March from 5 to 6.
I think it's going to impact the things that you're saying you don't want to impact. And I'm being cognizant of the things that you all brought up this evening.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to address your concerns by just doing the Grand March.
If you don't close the street until 4, that's fine. It's the people that come into town at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning and then shop all day and walk around and then come in for lunch. We always have a lull between lunch, and I'm always speaking for our restaurant, we have a lull between lunch and dinner. So, you know, you close the street at 4, all those parents, I agree with you, all those parents come to town, take pictures, you shuttle the kids off to somewhere else, the parents all stay in town, and you unlock the streets. That, to me, is a win-win for everyone.
And that's what some of the stores do, that they might stay open later that night to make sure that the parents, they have somewhere to go.
And the people shopping would stay and be like, oh my God, we're gonna see all these kids walk, it'd be amazing.
Right.
Could be
As long
amazing.
as the street wasn't closed down for people to get into,
Right.
like for the big problem, we're setting up tables, so there's not gonna be that. So even if the barricades are up, people that are coming to the town aren't gonna think, oh, well, I shouldn't be here because there's tables all over the place, I don't wanna get involved, so those tables aren't there. So as long as those patrons are still allowed to go on the sidewalks and be part of watching this parade as well, I think that's what everybody's saying would be.
Right.
would
I think
be
we'll have
really-
people that aren't
would
even
be
part of
great.
high school that will come watch the Grand March. And that's fine, it's just,
So then maybe what we do is we'll table this and come back at the next meeting with maybe a mock-up for a Grand March, if that's something you want to explore. If not, we'll just leave it off, but at least then we have a sense. But I don't think we can, with the SHA forms, we
Right,
gotta
we
get
have
them
to
in
read
pretty
it, right.
quickly.
They are the meetings only once a month, though?
No, we have them, this is a great opportunity for all of you to start coming every time we have a meeting. Second and fourth Mondays. We love seeing you. You're welcome. We meet twice a month, most of the time, except for in December.
3 weeks to discuss the.
It would be the second Monday of April before we, like the 8th. So,
Would you be willing to participate in, you know,
survey after this brief interaction.
Would you be willing to participate in a planning group to talk about the Grand March?
Absolutely.
Well, I would think,
No, please continue.
well, I would think that could be part of the.
It would be the next public meeting.
Right.
Oh,
And
No,
then,
well-
but, where do you get that?
Our next
well, I
step,
thought
is
the
that
planning
what?
with the merchants
Well,
would probably be
they
good.
meet monthly,
Yeah.
so the next merchant meeting, it could be a topic of the merchants.
Okay.
But
The next merchant meeting isn't until,
It would be the day after.
yeah.
oh, well, that's not good.
No, it's April 13th, I think. is the
Hey,
next
that's my
merchant.
birthday, that's a Saturday.
Time, but I mean,
But we can
but
meet
yes.
the
Yeah, I mean,
You
of
can meet
course.
before then.
We're allowed to talk to you all on a regular basis, you know that, right?
That would be.
And like I said, you know, please reach out to me, you know,
he just promotes a pretty good idea.
yeah,
As a group, so it's not like,
I'm Early Oaks, West Tree, you know, everyone here is willing to help whatsoever. I mean, like I said, I'd love to get in and plan, you know, the next couple of years and help out that, you know, cost-wise, you know, so the students don't have to put that.
We're willing to help too.
we have, you don't have friends, you just take them down there. and use them.
Okay.
There's stuff we have to do.
So respond
No, I get it, I do. And I appreciate everybody's input.
And personally, we commend you on the work that you all do for prom. I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of time. Sorry we haven't been successful here, but if there's a way we can repackage this and do something with Grand March, maybe at our next meeting, I'd love to do that. So,
Okay.
all right.
No, I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Michelle, even though I want to call you Jill.
I'm used to
Tell your
it.
sister we said hello.
I will.
Now you can have the rest of the meeting.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Thank you all. You're welcome to stay. We meet until the end. Yeah. Until the end of the agenda. Until the end of all of you. I go until you drop.
Oh, she had to leave at 9.
I think I stopped talking to you.
Oh, you got an agenda?
But she asked me to stay.
Okay. Up next, agenda item 4B, which is motion 2024-16, the approval of fiscal year 25 Parks Plan. Town Administrator Mary Boland, Special Projects Coordinator Kate Dow, we're going to run point.
Kate is, as you know, transitioning into more and more of these roles, but for the time being, the county has changed the way that they want to see program open space information a little bit. Instead of giving them our entire plan, which would include development, which we can't apply for program open space money for, they only want to see the portion that they can process, which would be acquisition. So the acquisition project that's listed here is regarding parcels of land that have briefly been discussed. This has come out very quickly. We had to move very quickly, so the information that is included here is still somewhat protected, and we just have to give the little bit of information that we can and go from there. Then the second part of the motion is what used to be the program open space wish list that we have now sort of restyled as the Town of Berlin Parks Plan. So this is more of an internal document at this point. This is what you've seen in the past with adjustments made for the couple of projects that we've looked at in the past that we've since found out wouldn't be eligible for program open space funding, such as AED devices at the parks, that sort of thing. So this pretty much matches the parks land plan that was done last year, as well as the development plan that was done last year, but instead of being program open space, it's more internal.
Any questions for Mary or Kate?
So where does the acquisition part fall into the?
Because we can see program open space funding for acquisition.
So the fact it's not on this sheet is not.
No, it's not, we don't know when the grant will be due. This is just establishing that is our plan to seek that program.
Take a motion if anybody has it.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve 2024-16.
Actually, public
Wait, I'm
comment.
sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Anybody from public comment want to address? Mike, I see you here. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mike.
We've been over it at the last parks meeting and agreed with Mary, so.
Thanks, Mike. Sorry I overlooked you.
Sorry.
Anybody else, public comment? Okay, Jeff.
Okay. Motion to approve 2024-16, the FY25 Park Plan, Program Open Space Annual Plan for Acquisition and Plan for Development.
Thank you. Got it in a second. By Councilmember Nichols. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Let the record reflect that motion 24-16 passes unanimously. Up next is 4C, motion 2024-17. Approve the purchase of police department radios. Chief Downing's on one point.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chief.
This February, we had our radios reprogrammed, and during that task, we were informed from Worcester County Emergency Services that the county had an actual 70% discount on radios. We had the opportunity then to go ahead and look. Our radios were purchased in FY 2017, and again, instead of having to pay $7,500, we have an opportunity to pay $2,700 for 16 radios. So we started discussions, found out that we could actually get that same price that the county was getting from our vendor, and they graciously agreed to go ahead and give us that same price, but advised us that we had to have those purchased before June of this year. So we're asking now to go ahead and have $43,200 plus any shipping and handling for those actual replacement radios. The radios that we actually currently have will be utilized by administration. So that's our proposal.
The only request, Chief, we talked about it offline, you, Mary, and I'd like to see you go to 2 extras at 17 portables, if you don't mind.
Right, we're at 14. Well, and again, I'll take 17.
Yes, please. Please take 17.
So does that change the amount?
Yes, I'd like any motion to approve to include the cost of 17 radios.
Which would be an additional $2,700.
Okay. And then, just so that I'm clear, this would come out of FY24
24 funds, yep.
Right?
Correct.
Budgeted funds, but just reappropriated.
So I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve
Oh, sorry.
Why to 17?
So they're new radios. The chief and I talked, he's trying to be conservative. I don't, at $2,700 versus $7,000, where they're new, we won't have available parts. So if one's down, that way we have extras. So it'll give us 2 extras in the police department.
Well, and we'll have 3-year warranty, but the fact of it is, we won't have this price later on if we are there.
We want to make sure they have more than
Taking
less.
advantage of it.
Of the cost.
Chief, I had a question about encryption. So this is a new thing I'm seeing within the surrounding county. Is all communication going to be encrypted?
All law enforcement.
All law enforcement?
Yes.
You'll probably see fire with there.
Between county and individual municipalities?
Law enforcement, citizens can't hear our communication, simply put.
So do you have a motion to approve?
Yeah.
You know what?
Go ahead, Jay.
Jay, you're here too. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 17 radios.
Steve, you want to second
Motion
that?
by Councilmember Renner, second by Vice President Burrell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that the vote to acquire 17 new radios passed unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
I like how kindly you all work together.
Up next is agenda item, I didn't ask for public comment on that. Sorry.
Oh.
It's late. Jamie, did you want to dissent on public comment on radios? Okay. Agenda item 4D, motion 2024-18, the approval of AT&T FirstNet Vocality Kit. I'm running point on it. So basically what this includes is the gateway that we need to be able to turn the brick into a device that can communicate with the county radio system. So the town of Berlin has a channel. It allows the capability of the brick to be utilized to talk on that channel. Rather than acquiring a $7,000 radio or even a $2,500 radio for each one, we can accomplish that with $6,200.
Tell me what we need to be able to
Communicate.
talk to.
Anything from emergency preparedness during a storm to an event. Jack, can you dissent on emergency preparedness?
I will not dissent on emergency preparedness.
Vitality of communications, but yes, basically that's what it's for.
How many the chief's radios?
Number of phones, I'd have to go back to our previous staff report when
Would
we
you want to do all
adopted
of
the.
them? It would
It
be.
could be active on whatever.
Correct,
All of
any
them.
one of our devices, including but I think it's about 50 that we would have it on.
I think it's 53.
There you are.
53 and then the additional SD7 for 10.
There you go.
Would be able to talk with the county.
On a designated channel, yes. So,
And Mr. Burrell, that doesn't mean that we're just gonna call them up and have an open conversation.
Spend more money.
All right.
Where's the funding?
so the original staff report that we had for AT&T included this kit. But what we wanted to do was not onboard it right away. We wanted to phase it, do the devices first. I love your fan, Mary. And then go to onboarding this system once we had that built out. So this is the second phase of that, and it utilizes the funds that are saved from cell phones, the allotment of cell phones in FY24, to utilize that for this cost. Any additional funds, if they would be, they'd be nominal, would come out of capital.
Well, is everybody using the bricks phones?
The bricks are utilized, each department has operational department has a channel. I will say Public Works utilizes it a little bit more than some, electric utilizes it, water utilizes it, but during events and stuff, it's come in handy. So that's really where you're gonna see this kit come into play,
Okay.
is when we would switch up to that Town of Berlin channel. It's also programmed in any law enforcement radio, any fire radio, so they have the ability to talk to our staff also. It's cross communication, but you're really, going back to that staff report, you're saving over $150,000 with this acquisition than if you had bought $7,000 radios for all those folks too.
So, wait a minute, I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yep.
The new radios that the chief is getting, this will.
They're totally different. You would not want to have a law enforcement officer or a firefighter counting on the brick as their sole form of
No,
communication.
not that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I thought I just heard, that's why I'm asking for clarity. I thought I just heard you say that this would enable the brick to communicate with the police department.
On the Town of Berlin channel.
Okay.
I think for clarity, first thing we need to speak to is a channel. We have a town channel already linked on the county system. The kit itself will enable phones to go ahead and utilize that system.
Okay, there's the complete.
It's like a patch.
Anyway, it's voice over IP.
Yeah.
so,
Correct.
but Still takes a motion to approve, folks.
But, did we get an answer to Steve's question?
What's that? Utilization?
Are people using the town issued phones? I find them to be very, very.
They are clunky.
Difficult.
They are clunky. They're government issued to a T,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But they have their challenges, and I think that folks still divert sometimes to their personal devices.
Right.
But I think by and far, they're getting utilized more, and that is our